Wey, what's up GameLeapers, I'm Coach Cheese, and in this video you are going to learn the most broken damage build for Season 11 and the 3 best champions to use it on. To all you damage dealers out there, you are going to love what's in store. A breakdown of the build itself and why you have to start using it, and how to go about abusing it on 3 champions that are busted with these items. Damage is everything in League of Legends at the moment. So much so that the reason tanks are broken is because of the amount of damage their tank items do, not because of how unkillable they become. In turn, if you are building items that are not as strong as others, and if you're playing champions that do not synergize with the new items, you are at a massive disadvantage. This video will help solve your problems and give you the information you need to get back on the Rift and start obliterating your opponents. I want to know what items you think are the most busted in terms of damage, and what champions are way too strong because of them. Let me know in the comments below. As always, please drop a like on the video and check out our amazing website GameLeap.com. If you are that player who wants to reach that next level and get the most out of League of Legends, we've got it all sorted. Red hot courses, guides, videos, hundreds of them, made by challenger players and coaches to help you climb right to the top. Check it out, link will be in the description. Let's get into it. So you want to blow every champion you come into contact with into oblivion. Here's what you have to do. Rush the mythic item Eclipse and start fighting. This mythic is the strongest in the game. Next to Sunfire Aegis, alright, I'll give you that, and empowers your champion like no other. Apart from Sunfire Aegis, alright, I get it. It offers the same attack damage and lethality as Duskblade, and lets you deal an additional 6% max health physical damage. So think about those beefy tanks you see every game. YOUMUU'S, Zac, Sejuani, you can now shred them. So not only do you get great damage from its innate stats, this damage is amplified via its ever-rising moon passive. You know why else you will start blowing up your enemies? It grants all other legendary items 4% armor penetration. When you have your full build, you will have 4 legendary items, unless you sell boots for another legendary of course. So just from this alone you have 16% armor penetration, which is nuts. This is more effective against champions with a lot of armor like tanks and bruisers, but is still useful against enemy squishies, so you start deleting everyone. It's important to note as well guys, that lethality is more effective the less armor the opponent has, and guess what? Armor penetration is calculated before lethality, so that armor is reduced for you. It's the ally to your oop. Essentially, you deal a ton more damage. Let me know in the comments if that was a good analogy, by the way. The next item you have got to build before Riot nerfs it for being that busted is the Collector. This item is the bomb and you must build it after Eclipse. It's a disgusting combination. It gives you attack damage and the same amount of lethality as Eclipse and a nice chunk of crit, 20%. That's not all. Another reason you have to invest in the Collector is for its passive, Death and Taxes. When you deal damage that leaves an enemy champion on less than 5% HP, they are executed. Think of it as a mini Elder Dragon buff. It sounds nutty, right? The last item for this insane damage build is YOUMUU'S Ghostblade. Can you guess what this item gives you? That's right, attack damage, 60 of it, and the same lethality as Eclipse and the Collector. That's 18. So from these 3 items you will have 160 AD, 54 lethality, and 8% armor penetration. This will work 100% of the time because the enemy team is always going to have champions you can 100 to 0 in an instant. AD carriers, mid laners, and some junglers and supports, even top laners, do not start building any resistance until later in the game. So for the first 25 to 30 minutes, you can blow them up every time. Even if they were to build a bit of armor, plated steel caps for example is pretty common, the armor penetration passive from Eclipse ignores some of that armor, so your lethality is just as deadly. If you are enjoying the video so far guys, friendly reminder to leave a like and let me know in the comments if you have actually tried this build and how it went in your games. Now we know what the build is, what champions is it best on? The first champion you have to build this on is Jhin. Jhin has been and will continue to be the most dominant AD carry in this pre-season. With these 3 items he boasts a 65% win rate in Korean high elo. 65%, but why? Why does it make him that broken? Well, your abilities as Jhin are a huge part of your damage output. The trio of items gives you the AD your abilities scale off, and lethality so that they rip through enemy champions in the early mid game. The second reason is your 4-shot and 4th curtain call. These 2 deal more damage the lower the enemy champion is. We've already established that attack damage and lethality make your abilities more powerful, but think about the Collector's passive. Even if your 4th bullet leaves the opponent on 1 HP, they are executed anyway. Any squishy champion will be scared to come close to you even if they are full HP with a support next to them. You are that scary. Third and final reason, the movement speed from Eclipse's passive, and also Ghost Blade. You cannot be touched. Well, you can if you run it down, but you are so quick, making it easier for you to get in range of the opposition and to escape those dangerous situations. Now you might be asking, why is this good on Jhin and not Vayne, for example, or another AD carry? Well, a large percentage of Jhin's damage output is from his abilities, right? Vayne dishes out close to all of her damage with auto attacks, so Vayne needs attack speed and critical strike chance ASAP. It's a simple matter of playstyle. The more your gameplay relies on your abilities, the more effective attack damage and lethality will be. And this leads me on to the next champion, another ADC by the way, who you have got to start playing if Jhin cannot be picked, and that's Misfortune. Across all regions, Master and above, the win rate with Eclipse, Collector and Ghostblade is, wait for it, over 75%. 3 in 4 games you're going to win with this build, guys. That is absurd. But why? Why is it that absurd? Well, first of all, Misfortune's base damages on her abilities are super high, meaning the more lethality we build and the less armor our enemy has, the more we shred through their HP bar. Second, your damage output largely revolves around your Q, double up, and your ultimate bullet time. Guess what both of these scale with? Attack damage. So this build is nuts because it gives you a huge chunk of AD, and the lethality further enhances that power, especially against squishier foes. Third, your passive Love Tap, which deals bonus physical damage on new targets, procs off your Q. So if your double tap hits an enemy champion with this build, you deal even more damage because of your passive, which scales off the attack damage provided from these items. Fourth and final reason, the bonus movement speed from Ghostblade stacks with the movement speed you get from your W, Strut. This means you can get in position to use your Q and ultimate faster in those big team fights, to rip through the entire enemy team. This is also very useful if you ever happen to be in a sticky situation and you have to get to safety ASAP. You will have the speed to do everything. It's important to know that to deal all of this damage you have to be on the map, so it's all well and good having this much power in your kit, but you have to position yourself accordingly. There is no reason to headbutt the enemy team, so stand a safe distance away from the carnage, and when everyone is committed in that area of play, unleash the damage and rain hell. Think about those massive Misfortune ultimates you've seen in montages. This could be you with this build, so what's stopping you? The last champion that can maximize the potential of this build is Graves, and the Outlaw packs the biggest punch of all of these champions with this build. Like his predecessors, Graves has a 65% win rate across all regions with this setup. So let's find out why. Well, the first reason, your Q and ultimate scale off your bonus attack damage. So the 160 AD Eclipse, Collector and Ghostblade offer is poured into your 2 biggest sources of damage. Mixed with lethality, you will be grey screening opponents like no tomorrow. When you have your ultimate collateral damage at the ready, look to start forcing fights as soon as possible. When you have this build on Graves, you are more of an assassin than you are bruiser, so you have to focus on dishing out the most amount of damage in the shortest amount of time. You can do this by aiming your Q at structures and terrain so it bounces back almost immediately. This gives the enemy less time to react, and combined with your ultimate, enemy champions have no hope. The second reason, Ghostblade gives you that movement speed you need to get up close and personal with enemy champions. We've got to understand, guys, that Graves has much shorter range than Jhin and Misfortune, so you have to be able to close that gap to make full use of your double barrel shotgun. The third and final reason, 2 of Eclipse's effects give you a shield and more movement speed. What does this mean for Graves? Well, you can be more ballsy than ever running at enemy champions. For example, you might want to turret dive a lonely AD carry, or flash into the Baron pit to try 1v5 and get on Synapse. Also, think about those situations on Graves when you get close to melee range to the enemy and the tide of the battle suddenly turns. You're now in trouble and have no chance of escaping. Well, you do now. Now, of course this build isn't limited to just these 3 champions, GameLeapers, but they are the most effective at using it. Other champions this works wonders on include Zed, Kiana, and Rengar. Again, let me know in the comments section if you have been building it on what champion and how broken you think it is. Remember this build and smash it in your games, guys. Write it down, make an item set, Eclipse, Collector, and Ghostblade. LP gains will follow, trust me, I guarantee it. If you made it this far, first of all, thank you very much, and enjoy the video. Remember to leave a like before browsing the rest of our content, subscribe so you don't miss out on future tip videos, and turn on all notifications, and have a gander at our website, GameLeap.com. The best website going around and offering instructive content for those of you wanting to maximize your potential on the Rift. Check it out, otherwise you will be hearing from me in tomorrow's video. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Coach Cheese, and until next time, peace.